NBC6 News Today at 6 starts with breaking news.
That breaking story here at 6:30, and take a look at your screen. Huge explosion rocking some yachts in northwest Miami-Dade. Right now, we know at least 3 of those yachts went up in flames, some of them sinking deep into the water.
Yeah, crews are currently working to put out those fires right there. These yachts completely destroyed and many submerged along the Miami River.
Chopper 6 now giving us a bird's eye view from above as firefighters earlier were continuing to try to put out those flames. Smoke there still lingering on the scene, and you can see just a huge response from firefighters and law enforcement there, closing down a lot of those roads in the area as they continued to put out that fire. Thanks for spending your 6:30 half hour with us here on NBC6 Today. I'm Chris Anderson.
And I'm Constance Jones. Thanks for waking up with us. We do have team coverage covering all sides of this story for you this morning. NBC6's Joanna Torres is keeping track of all the travel impacts for your morning commute.
We have reporters there on the ground as well. We want to get things started with NBC6's Julia Bagg, who's had a wonderful vantage point this morning where we could clearly see the damage there. Miami-Dade Fire just giving us an update on the response efforts. What are they telling us now, Julia?
Well, their efforts are continuing. It's not over, although they are saying that things are under control. So that is good news. Now with the sunlight, you can get a better look at this yacht that flames torched this morning. Look at the stern as they continue to spray onto the back of this vessel. Look at what's left of it, burned out. It's incredible, and it's kind of listing, if you can see now in the sunlight, must be as a result of this fire that struck 3 vessels. If you were here with us earlier, you know that one of those vessels has already sunk. Take a look at the debris here that is left. This is where it had been tied up, that yacht, and then a third one as well. Which is over on the left-hand side over here. That's where firefighters have also been focusing, also mostly submerged. And look at the fireboat now there that has been going back and forth. So here's what we know. Speaking to people who work and live at this marina, they tell me they heard an explosion at about 3:30 this morning. They came outside and they saw these vessels on fire. The good news is so far we don't have any reports of any injuries. And yes, firefighters are telling us that things are under control, but they are still spraying because throughout the morning, you'll know this if you've been with us, that hotspots continue to flare up. And in the engine section of this yacht has appeared to be the trouble spot for here. And so you see that fireboat, they're still working to make sure nothing flares back up this morning. And boy, look at what's left of that, just the blackened remains of that luxury yacht. And here's what I've learned about this yacht as well in talking to people at the marina, that this was a charter yacht for kind of a party charter that would take people out for a good time, but certainly no more after the fire that just devoured most of it here. And so we know that we've heard reports that the Coast Guard has been called out. We haven't seen them yet on scene here, but also Miami-Dade Fire Rescue getting help from the City of Miami firefighters to battle this in just a massive effort this morning. And if you're out and about right now, if you're at the airport perhaps, you look outside, you may have seen the smoke rising. There's a lot less smoke that we've seen now. The river, the entire surface was just covered with foam earlier. That is starting to clear up as they start to finish their work and certainly get things under control. Much better position firefighters are in now than when we first spoke with you at 5 o'clock this morning. But you can see it's not over yet. They're still spraying this area, the back part of this luxury yacht that was just torched this morning, one of 3. So we're on the south bank of the Miami River, just east of Miami International Airport. This is a warehouse area, a marina area, and my colleague, NBC6's Brianna Nesbral, she's on the north side of the river. And Brianna, tell me what you're seeing from there.
Yeah, well, it's still an active scene on our side as well, Julia. I actually want to show you because these firefighters actually just came out from the back. You're seeing it starting to clear. As we know, Miami-Dade Fire Rescue did confirm that the fire is under control. So we have these firefighters with their ladders starting to pick things up, wrap things up around here. We have started to see more fire trucks leaving the scene, clearing the scene. When we first got here, there were about 24 units on scene. I'm counting here from our angle, probably a dozen units still here. So still in very much an active scene. But you mentioned this is the warehouse shipping district about a mile from Miami International Airport. Lots of going on around here, lots of movement here this morning. Earlier we also saw the dive team, some divers coming out, getting back into the fire trucks. But again, from what you can see here, those ladder trucks, they've come down. We're not seeing smoke. We're not seeing the flames anymore. Miami-Dade Fire Rescue did confirm the fire is under control. Now you're also seeing on the other side of your screen, you're seeing video from earlier where you could see those boats engulfed in flames. We're talking 3 yachts, 2 60-foot yachts, 1 90-foot yacht. Huge boat scorched with flames. Just incredible video, really. A huge fire this morning. Those yachts just torched. Now, when we arrived, we had seen plumes of smoke coming from those yachts, billowing behind this building in front of us. That's a specialized towing, a towing yard here. But we're not seeing that at this moment anymore. We're not seeing smoke from our angle. Of course, we're on the other side of where you just saw Julia. But back here live, the scene is starting to clear. We're seeing less fire trucks. They're picking up their gear, putting things away, getting ready to head out from our side. Again, we're still blocked off. We still have to stand behind this yellow tape. You see this massive hose still here behind me, leading over towards the water there behind me. Again, you heard Julia say right now we do not have any injuries reported, but we're still working to find out how this fire got started in the first place. But I'm going to toss it now to Joanna Torres in the studio, talking about how these traffic impacts, because we see this is still closed to the public.
Well, Brianna, because it is a boatyard area there, but it's still a very active scene, right? So we just want to warn any drivers or commuters who are around the area to just avoid it at all costs, the 3200 block and Northwest North River Drive, just in case for some reason you have to be around that area. And as Julia also mentioned earlier, I mean, the smoke is out now, but it was pretty much all the way up in the air, possibly causing some onlookers. You can see Chopper 6 is over it right now. Again, contained mainly to this boatyard area. Doesn't seem to be a main roadway, but again, you want to avoid it because they do have that one road closed off, which is Northwest North River Drive. If that does involve your morning drive whatsoever, again, avoid it at all costs. As you can see, it's still a very active scene. A lot of police and fire crews out in the area completely blocking off that road. So we haven't received any alerts either that it's causing any issues with the train stations. All right, I want to bring your attention to a major accident right now happening on a very, very busy street. This is US 1 heading southbound. You can see what appears to be remains left over of a car there. They're cleaning up the area right now. This is US 1 heading southbound at Southwest 22nd Avenue, completely shut down, causing a nightmare. Traffic backed up for miles, even almost past towards I-95. So avoid US 1 heading southbound because drivers are having to get off at or turn around at Southwest 22nd Avenue because it's blocked off again at 22nd Avenue and Southwest 17th Avenue. Your alternate route there for my drivers in this area is going to be to take Bayshore Drive. So a very busy morning right now in Miami. So seek that alternate route again, Bayshore Drive. Avoid US 1 heading southbound because it's already a nightmare during rush hour. Now we're adding this major accident to it at Southwest 22nd Avenue. Drivers again having to turn around. So Bayshore Drive is going to be your best alternate route there. Chris Constance.
All right, Joanna, thank you. Be sure you stay with NBC6 for the very latest on these yacht fires. As we learn information, we'll be sure to share that with you.
Yeah, take a look at this. A SpaceX rocket exploding in the sky last night with debris just all over the place here over parts of Florida. The explosion happened minutes after the Starship rocket launched just before sunset in South Texas.
And that explosion forced local planes to reroute their flight path or, in some cases, remain grounded.
They're trying to handle customers, but this, I think, is going to be a long process to get to where we're going.
In a statement posted on X, SpaceX wrote in part during Starship's ascent burn, it experienced a rapid unscheduled disassembly and contact was lost. We will review the data from today's flight test to better understand the root cause.
And travelers were able to go. Some of them were, but some actually got stuck at the airport when the explosion grounded their flights. And many people across South Florida, well, they looked to the skies and saw that huge fireball, several fireballs. But why was it visible from here when that rocket was launched in South Texas?
Probably a lot of it has to do with that flight path. So to bring in and get some confirmation on that, let's go to First Alert meteorologist Adam Berg to break it down for us. It was quite a visual sight.
Absolutely. Very similar to Flight 7 flight path that also experienced problems too, right? So red line goes from Starbase facility in the Brownsville area right over to areas just south of us. Now, the explosion happened at about 480,000 feet, and with the flight path just south of us, this is why you could see it here in South Florida. Let's talk about some of those details here. And again, this is a 403-foot rocket system, and this is central to Musk's plan to send humans to Mars. This Starship can also be used to go to the moon, right? So this is all part of the plan, and the Starship on this particular mission was aiming to do a full orbit around Earth. Obviously, that never occurred, with the explosion happening within 10 minutes at about 90 miles elevation, 480,000 feet or so. Boy, is it a beautiful deal for us here this morning. When you look at the sky, not so beautiful if you don't like cold temperatures, though. Let's go ahead and show you some of the numbers across South Florida. We don't have Kendall on this list, but Kendall has actually dipped into the upper 40s briefly. Homestead, you're at 51, 51 as well, Fort Lauderdale and Pembroke Pines, 63 Key West. These numbers, some of the coolest numbers we've seen since January. I mean, you got to go about a month and a half back to find a little cool blast like this. So a crisp morning for sure, with these north winds continuing. And then the winds get really light and actually make a little shift to the southeast. Today is kind of the transition day. We go from a very crisp morning to a very warm weekend. Pleasant afternoon, though, in general for us. So here's the forecast for this morning. Low 50s in most areas, some 40s for the kids at the bus stop. So bundle those little tykes up, and then an incredible afternoon. And then, guys, you might be thinking about the beach by the weekend. I've got that boat and beach forecast, in fact, coming up here in a few minutes.
Adam, thank you. We are keeping an eye on that breaking story. Several yachts going up in flames overnight. We're still working to try to figure out if there was anyone on board those yachts at the time of the explosion and subsequent fire. NBC6 is working to get those answers. Stay with us on air, online, and through our digital platforms as those updates become available. It's 6:43. You're watching NBC6 Today. We'll be right back.